G'day D-Live and welcome back to the Gives a Minutes D-Live stream for a Wednesday afternoon affair. It has just gone 7 minutes past 3 in the PM for me. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, good evening to you. Whatever the time it is, wherever you're consuming this content, you're always welcome right here on the Gives a Minutes. Your stream, your rules. D-Live stream, looking into the chit chat. I see the H-Man. I see Rob Mack. I see Comptech. I see MD Wit. I see 4 crew, and therefore 4 freaking cheerses, because everyone gets a cheers when they join the Gives a Minute.
I just want to tell you how it feels.
I just want to tell you how it feels. There's Jay Boston as well. When they join the Gives a Minute D-Live stream chit chat, this is a glass. That's a microphone. When these two things make a collision course, somehow, somewhere, wow! That represents the cheers. Wow! MD Wit, that's a triple freaking give. What? Cheeses.
Jesus. Bees, ease, cheese, ease, needs, me's, e, leaves, keys, mean, things, these, wings, teas, leaves, me's, these, bees, mean, mind, water, face.
Mayonnaise!
Thank you, MD Wit. And I haven't even done my freaking cheers yet. Oh, mayonnaise. What? 2 ice creams from Comptech. Thank you, Comptech. Thank you, MD Wit. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cheeses. I think there were 4. 4 cheeses. Everybody gets a cheers. Now, it's a cryptocurrency stream today, folks, but there she is, Shyla Rose. Got a parcel here from Shyla Rose. And I know Wednesday's cryptocurrency. We're going to go deep diving into cryptocurrency. We've got a bunch of things up our sleeve. Maximus for one. Then we're going to look into beefy finance. Thank you, Comptech. Appreciate you giving me the heads up on this one. Then we're also going to look into, I got an invite into this new app called Everse. And I think it might be a scam. So I want to talk to you about that. So we've got those 3 things. But as a matter of course, I will open this up here first to get this, to get the thanks to Shyla, because I understand cryptocurrency streams aren't for everybody. Let me just do my blurb first, though. If you're curious about crypto, if you're considering crypto, or if you're confused by crypto, maybe this stream might teach you something about cryptocurrency. Mind you, what we're going to be looking at is pretty deep. So this might not be the one to look at. Like last week, we're looking deep into a build on, an add-on, if you like, to Hex, in a sense. So this is a very detailed cryptocurrency stream, not really surface level. However, I'm like this with every stream. If you start talking to me about something and you want to ask questions, I'll dovetail off and have a conversation about, as long as it's cryptocurrency, because this is a Wednesday stream, I'll go into the discussions about whatever you damn well please, as long as it's crypto. On that note too, most importantly, if you're not over here on D-Live, if this is not the URL you punched into your freaking browser and you're somewhere else, I appreciate the views on other platforms. Very kind of you to go over to Gives a Minute across the stratospheric atmosphere. However, especially on a cryptocurrency stream, if you want to converse with me, if you want to chat with me, and you want to add your comments, you've got to be on this URL that's on the screen right there. That's dlive.tv/givesaminute. I'm going to make this black now so you can get a real clear indication, and I can scratch my nose right there. Get into that. And you know where to go. Go to dlive.tv/givesaminute. Thing is, sometimes when I look back at previous cryptocurrency streams, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Trovo, anywhere I'm streaming, I see comments and people are asking and saying and commenting things. I'm not seeing them. I'm not even looking there. I'm only looking at one chat, and it's this one on the screen, dlive.tv. That's the chat. This is the only chat I'll be looking at. If you want to chat with me, you got to be over here on D-Live. This is my little effort to get crew over onto D-Live to combat the slot streamers. Let's give them a little kick out the door for half an hour or for 3 hours while I stream on cryptocurrency. So come on over. Appreciate those that are here right now. And let us do this now, Shyla. Do I have to be careful? What? Sounds like there's a zipper in there. I will confirm the address is correct. I don't understand why it came yesterday and then it said it's coming again today as well. It said this parcel said it delivered yesterday, and Shyla and I were like, well, shit, no, it did not. I didn't get it. It delivered where? Not here. And then it said again, it's delivering today. And lo and behold, it came. So let me open this up. I already know what one of the items in here is. It's a t-shirt from a Peter Bibby show, which I am stoked for. It'll go into my t-shirt pile, that's for certain. It's crazy yesterday. Yeah, what? How can it get a delivery notification if it hasn't been delivered? Very strange. Ooh, what have we here? I guess I won't be needing this. Ooh, is this a big pick? Some kind of... Oh, wow. This is like a little big pick. Hey! It's a jack pack. It's a jig pick. Wow, Sharda. That's cool. That's really cool. Ah, get him out of here. That's my bad. Ooh, ooh-wee, yes. Just make certain. That's cool, Charlotte. I know what this is from too. You bought, did you take the premixes out of here? There was a 4-pack of premixes of, I think if this is what I think it is, the only way to get this was to buy, or not the only way to get this, but the only way to get the lemonade ready to drink premixes after they took them off the market in a sense was in this 4-pack banger. I think you got a lemonade, 2 colas, and a dry, I think. But it smells fresh, so you haven't had them in there. But that's going to come in real handy. I'm doing a Jack Daniel's stream on Saturday, so this will come in very handy. Thank you so much, Charlotte. Much appreciation. Let's take a look at the Peter Bibby shirt. Ooh, it's yellow. I like yellow. Look at that, guys. Peter Bibby's Dog Act. That's cool, Charlotte. That's Marge, isn't it? Yeah, there you go. Dude, has it got the tour dates on it? Oh, that's a bummer. That's really kind of you, Charlotte. I really appreciate that. You picked that up from a tour for me. That's really kind of you. Really kind. Thank you. And I'm so glad that that did not get lost. This kind of thing, you have to pick up at the show. So if you didn't get it, this will be the t-shirt I wear next week. And then it will go onto the t-shirt stack. And you will see it again in some other universe when it comes up throughout my lengthy process of how to select a t-shirt. How would you select a t-shirt that you're going to wear if you've got thousands of them? Okay, not thousands. I'm going to say I've probably got close to 100 different band t-shirts from over the years. How would you actually select? How would you select it? This is how I select it. This t-shirt, because it's brand new, I'm going to wear it. And then after it gets washed, it goes on the bottom of the t-shirt stack. And as I take a t-shirt off the top to wear it for the next week, that t-shirt goes underneath this one, and slowly this makes its way up the stack. However, the stack's too tall to be one single stack. It's cut into 3. So you got stack 1, goes on the bottom of stack 2, bottom of stack 3, and finally it comes to the top, and that's when you wear it again. I mean, if you think I'm crazy for that, well, people do all kinds of crazy things like smoke cigarettes, and all I do is have a crazy t-shirt stack, and you say I'm crazy? Get out of here. Thank you, Charlotte. Very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. H-Man chose the tee and the size. None of his tees had tour dates. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. That's great. It's gonna be fine. I'm psyched on it. I'm stoked. I'm really appreciative of you. I'm a little jealous of you going to the show, but you know I've been to shows that you haven't been to. So no. Thank you, Charlotte. Now I'm gonna move into cryptocurrency. So if anyone wants to say anything before then, do it now. Actually, you know what? Do it now. Oh, I'm going to go and grab a coffee. Bingo, bango. That'll be a good little, give us a little chance to sort of calm down and then get deep in. Because this cryptocurrency stuff, let me tell you, what we're looking at here, Poly Maximus, Comptech, unless you want me to do beefy finance up front, depending on, actually, that's a good idea. Comptech, what's your schedule looking like? Do you want to stick around, or would it be better for you to come back in an hour or so? I'll do whichever suits you. Those are the two main things we're going to look at. But I find when I do these cryptocurrency streams, I just did a walk, by the way, and I wonder what that crap was on my floor. I just did a fitness walk, and I got to drink a bit of water, and then I find these streams are very intense learning. I'm good. It's your stream. Yeah, it's my stream, my rules, I suppose. Okay, well we'll do Poly Maximus because that'll be the most hard to grasp, and then we'll go into beefy finance. I'm I'm going to assume Beefy Finance isn't as much of a brain contort as Poly Maximus, and now Poly Water as well. I'm not too sure about that, but speaking of water, all right, let me go out, grab a coffee, come back, and we'll get into Poly Maximus. In the meantime, though, one last opportunity, dlive.tv/givesaminute, that's the URL. I will leave this stream up elsewhere, but if you're frantically smashing your keyboard and thinking, how come this guy's not answering? Is he ignoring me? Not really ignoring, just not seeing. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm just not seeing it. Like I said, I'm only looking at that chat. That's the DLive chat. I'd love you to be a part of that chat. Come on down to the URL on the screen, dlive.tv/givesaminute. I'm going to run out and get a coffee. In the time that I'm out there, you guys will be able to enjoy some lovely photographs. These are photographs by the viewers on this channel. We call them the givers. If you want to supply your own photograph, down below in the Discord machine, that's where you can do it. Or go to my About section, then find the link to the Discord machine. That'll teach you how to do it. Enjoy these photographs. What's that? I hear coffee calling. All right, got myself a coffee and spilt it everywhere. That's why I was a little longer than usual. I had to clean up the crap. Burnt my hand too. So that's not what you want to do with coffee. You want to hold it, then you want to drink it. Don't want to pour it everywhere. In the chat, yes, I knew when I got it, Benon needed the Jack Daniels bag for IRL Bevos. He will definitely use it. I'm definitely using that. That's going to be a good one to just sling over the side with the IRL Big Pack as well. Or even hanging off the IRL Big Pack. Maybe. We'll work it out, though. We'll work it out. But Poly Maximus how do we begin this conversation? Maximus. So first thing to think of is hex, right? If you haven't got hex, then if you don't know what hex is, then this is not going to really make sense. Basically, to bring it right down to a basic surface level, hex is a blockchain certificate of deposit. That's very surface level, but I love that it's insulated. It's going to have to be because it's coming into summer. So once you've got you can make a hex stake, right, through native. There's a couple of different front ends. You can interact with the contract and blah blah blah. You can use one DApp called Hedron. It's not even really a DApp. It's just an interface. In this interface or this front end, you can also make encapsulated stakes. You can make your stake into a NFT, essentially an encapsulated stake, which then earns you another token called Hedron. Hedron can then be staked to earn a further token called Icosa. Icosa earns you Hedron and Hex. And this all feeds back on itself to get you more Hex. Basically, like very top level here. Maximus, once you've got these encapsulated hex stakes in the Hedron interface, there's a way for you to sell at an auction. Now, this is something that I haven't done. I'm not really looking to loan out and auction and sell off. This is not something that I've even considered with my hex. So in my case, my Hedron that I mint, all I do is add that to my Icosa. That earns me Icosa. I don't do the NFT, the loaning and all the extra stuff. But I will do it soon because of Maximus. Now, Maximus or Maxi, far out, this is so complex. Maxi goes back to the concept of if I stake hex, if I take 1,000 hex and stake it for 5, 15 years, I earn a better bonus because I've staked it longer. So the bonuses in hex are longer and bigger. The more you stake, the bigger your bonus. This is obvious with any kind of term deposit. The bigger you stake, the bigger your amount, the bigger your bonus. The bigger time frame you stake for, the bigger your bonus. So working on that theory, what Maxi did was to pool all stakers that wanted to be pooled together into one stake. And then everybody in that pool earns the rewards of the bigger and the longer. So you got this one encapsulated stake, which includes millions of stakes, let's say. It's not quite millions, but however many it is. And it's staked out for 15 years. And at the end of that 15 years, as opposed to having your own individual stake, you'll earn a hefty return based upon bigger pays better, longer pays better. That's Maxi. Maxi got broken down, or in addition to Maxi, there's also 4 other tokens that do the same thing on different timescales. So Maxi is the 5555. Then you've got this one called Base, which is a 1-year pooled stake. Then you've got this one called Trio, which is a 3-year pooled stake. Then you've got this one called Lucky, which is a 7-year pooled stake. Then you've got this other one called Desi, which is a 10-year pooled stake. So you've got these 4, and you've got Maxi. These are already in place. What Maximus Poly does, if I understand correctly, it seeks to pool the concept of buying and owning these HSI encapsulated stakes through Hedron. So these encapsulated stakes already exist. People have made them. They're trying to sell them at auction. Maximus Poly says, okay, let's act like a huge amount of people in one go and make multiple bids on these auctions using our Hedron to earn the rewards. And the rewards come in the form of the Hex and the Hedron, and I think Icosa. Not 100% certain. So that's a lot to understand. And like I said before, if this is your first dilly-dally into cryptocurrency, that's all going to be like, fucking what? And I get that. Like, it's still what for me. And I don't even think I grasp it very thoroughly. The reason I'm doing this stream is so that we can grasp it a little better together by nutting it out. By getting deep into it, we can at least sort of work out who knows what, and if someone doesn't know something, then we can learn it and get it worked out together. So if I've said anything incorrect, I really wish you're over here on DLive to tell me, because if you're watching on Twitter or YouTube or Trovo or whatever it is, bam, I'm not even seeing it. So come on down, DLive. But with that in mind, I do have the white paper here, which is a very important thing to read. So it's only a 5-minute read. This is by Goldkey, one of the creators. Let's take a read here. Let me actually just grab I'll get that off the top there. Let me just take a swig of my, oh, it's too hot. No, I'll come back for that. Let me just take a swig of water here. Also cut a little bit of my hair off today to clean this hideousness up. Okay, so Poly Maximus. Poly Maximus empowers you to utilize Hedron like a whale by owning the highest quality HSIs, which is the encapsulated stakes, by owning the highest quality and amplifying your Hedron stake yield. Okay. Poly is a new Maximus smart contract for trustless pooling of Hedron to bid on HSI hex stake auctions and to stake Hedron through the Icosa protocol. So that pretty much said it way better than I tried to. No shit, dude. This is the white paper. That really did like bring it right down to what it actually does. The background. What is Hedron? Hedron is a hex staking incentive token that people can earn by staking hex. Now, it's important to note at this point, you don't earn Hedron just by staking hex. You only earn Hedron if you stake hex through the front end of the Hedron DApp. So that's important to note. Hedron is an ERC20 token and can be traded on decentralized exchanges such as Uniswap. What is an HSI hex stake? An HSI stake is a hex stake encapsulated by an NFT, making the stake transferable. Now, I tried to get that out too, but I didn't quite say it as eloquently as this. So what my malfunction was that I was saying it becomes an NFT, but it's encapsulated by an NFT. Therefore, then you can trade it with anybody. Okay. What are liquidation auctions? Hedron allows people to borrow again. And by the way, this should be the same. This HDRN is Hedron. I don't know why they've used both. What's that word? Nomenclature? They should have just kept it the same. Either way, I just wanted to explain it. Hedron allows people to borrow against HSI hex stakes. If the loan is not repaid in 90 days, the HSI stake goes into a liquidation auction and can be bid on with Hedron. Again, this is not how I explained it, and I'm glad we're reading. We probably should have read this first, right? No, it was good for me to get it wrong. So the point here is if you do not repay your loan back within 90 days, your stake goes into a liquidation auction for anyone to bid on. What is the HSI buyback? Hedron launched a new token, Icosa. This is the one that I was talking about before, Icosa. One way to get Icosa is to sell an HSI stake to the protocol in exchange for Icosa. So that would be the stakes here that have gone to liquidation. The HSIs are then borrowed against by the protocol and sent to liquidation auction in 90 days. Okay, I'm not gonna pretend I understand that. I'm gonna read it again because I don't quite get that. So Hedron launched a new token, Icosa. One way to get Icosa is to sell an HSI stake to the protocol. So if you've got an encapsulated stake, you can sell it back to the protocol and receive ICOSA. So I'm already receiving ICOSA just by staking my Hedron. So that's another way to get it. The HSIs are then borrowed against by the protocol and sent to the liquidation auction. Okay, that does kind of sit sort of making more sense now. And these are the auctions that they've mentioned up here, which is what Hedron, which is what Poly will bid on. What is Hedron staking? People can stake their Hedron tokens through the ICOSA protocol to earn the ICOSA token. That's how I'm doing it. So that's pretty straightforward. You know what staking is. What are the Hedron staking bonuses? Staking bonuses are based on a stake's position in the bonding curve when a stake is ended. So a whale stake size is greater than or equal to 1% of the Hedron supply. A shark, these are just the terms that you get. I'm probably a squid, I guess. A shark stake size is greater than or equal to 0.1%, and a dolphin is greater than or equal to 0.01, and a lousy squid 0.001. Benefits of Poly Maximus. High yield opportunity for Hedron holders. Okay. Higher yield or just high yield? Earn more ICOSA yield staking Hedron. Okay. Because you're doing it as a group. Okay, so this is interesting because I thought it was just bidding on these auctions, but it looks like they've got their own staking part of the protocol as well. So you can already stake Hedron, but as using Poly, you can stake again and earn more yield by staking. Okay. Make staking Hedron easier. Well, it's not difficult, but okay. Well, everything's difficult with crypto, but have more bidding power for HSIs. Well, obviously, the more people, the more money, the more value, the more bidding power. That makes sense. You can own higher quality hex stakes. Never quite understood what that means. Higher quality hex stakes. So what, longer and bigger hex stakes? Increased liquidity for HSI ownership. So it's a HSI encapsulated stake is liquid because it's an NFT, and you have more of that because more of you have bought into it. 99.9% gas saving for ending an HSI hex stake. Now that should be the biggest, that should be splashed out everywhere, because think about it. If you're only doing one transaction and you're doing a big transaction, you're paying less gas than if everyone was doing all these transactions together or at the same time individually. That's not together. I told you, I'm already mixing shit up here, folks. My head's already exploding. How Poly Maximus works. During a one-time mint phase, now this is important, the one-time mint phase, anyone can mint one Poly per one Hedron pledged to the smart contract. A percentage of the Hedron will be budgeted for both bidding on HSI hex stakes and for staking. Well, there's the answer, what I didn't really get before. So a percentage of the Hedron, so whatever Hedron gets pledged to the smart contract equals Poly, and that'll be budgeted equally. A percentage of the Hedron will be budgeted for both bidding on HSI hex stakes and for staking. So it doesn't say if it's equal budget. Oh, we're right here, budget to be determined. Okay, well, that's interesting. So, okay. I was going to say that's a little lousy because that's kind of a determining factor, like whether you believe in the HSI stakes or you believe in just staking natively. Which percentage of if you're going in as Poly, you're going in with the group. And if the group decides more percentage is going to be used for the stakes or more is going to be used for the liquidation auctions, depending on which one you believe in. Me personally, I would rather go the stake option. So I'd rather see a bigger percentage, and it's to be determined, so it could be, but I'd rather see a bigger percentage go on the stakes of Hedron. I've always been of the belief not to take out loans. Like, obviously I have a house loan, I've had a few, and never had a car loan, but I have a house loan at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. I've just always been about buying it if you can afford it. After the mint phase ends, the Hedron budgeted for staking will be staked through the ICOSA protocol. Makes sense. When the liquidation auction begins, which is apparently on the 13th of November or 12th of November, the bid period for Poly Maximus begins. And with recommendations from Poly holders, the Poly Maximus executor, that's a gnarly word, don't get on his or her wrong side, the Poly Maximus executor bids on HSI hex stakes. Okay. Okay, one bid or like multiple bids? I guess it's one bid. It's going to be one gas fee, right? When the bid period ends, the remaining hedron is added to the stake. Okay, I did not know that. So what if the auction isn't won, the remaining hedron gets piled into the stake? Money's too tight for stake. It's a bit cold back here. I might have to put a jumper on. HSI stakes won at auction go to the Poly Maximus smart contract to be trustlessly held for the duration of the stake length. Okay, that makes sense. So whatever we win in terms of the auctions, that gets dumped into another smart contract, and it's held trustlessly, which is important, for the duration of that stake length. Could be 555, could be 1 day, could be 10 days, could be 20 days, could be 100 days. Hendrik, hello, g'day H-man. What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome to a cryptocurrency mind-blowing stream. We're going to warp our heads, we're going to confuse ourselves, we're going to make it very difficult to understand. It already is. I'll put your yahoos over here. And as these HSI hex stakes end, the hex and the hedron earned are held in the Poly Maximus smart contract. Well, that makes sense. And then they're paid out. When the last stake ends, the hedron stake is ended, and Poly holders can redeem their portion of the hex, the hedron, and the ICOSA by burning their Poly. Okay, so you got this thing that basically says that you're involved. That's Poly. You hold the Poly want to be held, and once the auctions are over and the stakes are finished, you take the Poly and you burn it using the smart contract's calculations of how much hex was paid out, blah, blah, bling, blong, blang. Okay. I told you this was detailed, right? I told you this was complex. Now, what's this? Mint period. The user can mint... The user goes to Hedron. Hang on. The user sends Hedron to the Poly contract. The Poly contract sends Poly back to the user. Yeah, okay, so this just basically says you're getting rid of your Hedron. 1 for 1. So the user sends their Hedron into the contract. The contract says, okay, here comes your Poly. That goes back to the user. Then what happens? There's a start stake for the Hedron. The Poly contract starts the stake using Hedron into the ICOSA contract. Okay? These things are all playing out at the same time, I guess, or the auction stage is a little later. The executor, so this is the person that they mentioned up here somewhere. The executor, where was this again? Where was the executor? There we go. It's in this section, how Poly Maximus works. Blah, blah, bling, blong, blang. After the mint phase ends, the hedron budgeted for staking will be staked through the ICOSA protocol. When the liquidation auction begins, the bid period for Poly Maximus begins. And with their recommendations from Poly holders, the Poly Maximus executor bids on the HSI stakes. So this is just a graphical representation of this. So this is during the auction phase. The executor bids on the Poly contract on behalf of everybody, sending hedron to the liquidation auction. The liquidation auction then returns the HSI stakes into the Poly contract, held trustlessly. At that particular point, there's the option here for the contract to interact with the hedron contract. The hedron contract gives you back the hedron. That goes back into the Poly contract, so it's all held here trustlessly. At the end of the stakes, the poly contract interacts with the hex contract because we're getting hex out. And I told you at the beginning, all this is to get more hex. So the poly contract entertains the hex contract for a dinner. Hex contract says, oh, okay, here's your hex that you guys are getting. Sends that back to the poly contract. At the end of the hedron stake, the poly contract enters dinner afternoon affairs with the Icosa contract. Icosa says, you earned some Icosa. Here you go, have it. Sends that back to the poly contract. So the contract now has hex, Icosa, and hedron. The HSIs are converted back to the hedron. And then redemption. This is how you get your redemption. And I got a little redemption there because I see Vanfrick in the chat. G'day, Vanfrick. Good morning, Gibbs. Long time. How you doing, man? Good to see you. So redemption. The user entertains the poly contract. Whoops, I beg your pardon. The user back up here. The user had minted their hedron into the poly contract. Poly contract had given them poly back. So the user has poly. Go back down here. So the user, with their poly, entertains the contract and says, I can sense some burning here. So it's all burning down, folks. I can feel fire. The poly gets burned within the contract. The contract then sends back out from this burned poly. Contract sends out Icosa, hedron, and hex back to the user. Now, that's a lovely icon. Is this repeating itself? Let's read this bit too, I think. Well, I was just going to jump out there. Well, I will jump out for a second just to show you that just to really hit this point here. As much as all of this might have been complex and all the copy there might have been difficult to understand, the end result, and this is if you don't really give two flying fucks about it, the end result is if you entertain poly with the contract at the end of these auction phases and the stake phases will send you Icosa, hedron, and hex. Now, you're going to earn more of those 3 tokens by doing this as a pool than you would as an individual. As an individual, you could certainly earn... Hey, by the way, this could be the greatest time to mention this is not financial advice. Take a look at me. Do I look like a financial advisor? I'm not even wearing a tie. I'm not a financial advisor. So just do remember that this is not financial advice. But if you do something as an individual, you got to focus more of your attention on something. You got to keep watch of the stakes when they end, the contracts, the liquidation loans. You got to keep an eye on those. All that stuff you got to constantly pay attention to. Me personally, I love the idea of just sitting back and letting it earn for you while you sleep. I don't want to have to faff around and do all this crap. So if you take what you have, because don't forget you've already got hedron if you've got hex, or you should have if you've been entertaining the hedron smart contract. You've got hex, you got hedron. It's just sitting there, and you got millions of it, right? Like hedron is like, I mean, I think I just minted 600,000 today. So 600,000 hedron, not dollars. Shit, no, hedron. It's probably only worth about $30, but you've got all this hedron. Me personally, I'm gonna dump it all in. I'm going all in, hey. I'm not leaving any percentage of my hedron just sitting there. I'm dumping it. Well, okay, so there is hedron that's being staked right now to earn Icosa, but thankfully that comes out in a 3-day period. So during this mint phase for poly, which is coming up very, very soon, I'm gonna smack all of my hedron, all of it, 100% into poly. And then I'm going to let the executor do all the hard work. When that comes through, you'll just see what'll happen is you'll just see Icosa, hedron, and hex in your wallet. That, to me, that seems like a no-brainer, right? Now, of course, many things in that, like mathematical things, and many ups and downs, and greater than and equal to, less than percent, all that shit in the contract itself is very complex, and I'm not pretending to understand it all, but reading the white paper, it does give you not satisfaction. What's the word? Not. I'm going to say satisfaction. That's the wrong word. It gives you sense of security, like pockets jingling. It's a midlife crisis. I don't know. I can't think of the correct word, but I get a little. There's a few things at play here. The guys that create this, Gold Key and Dip Capture, they're very cool people in the community. In fact, this is amazing to think of, but Dip Capture, the guy who codes all this crap, I say crap as a term of endearment, by the way, he codes it all live on streams. So this has been spoken of on stream, and then he creates this stuff on stream. Literally, he'll stream for like 4 hours creating the math and the contracts in front of you. So you've got so much at play here, and even though the stuff is held trustlessly, which it is as per the contract, it is nice to have decent people involved in this from the outset, right? So the guys that created it, I believe the guys that created this are trustworthy, even though the contract itself is trustless. So these guys explain it better, and the white paper has helped me to feel vindicated, vilified. The white paper has helped me to grasp it, and it should have helped you grasp it, but there is a little summary just here. So Poly is an ERC20 token. You will be able to mint Poly 1-to-1 with Hedron during a one-time mint phase. So this is a one night only, after which no more Poly will ever be created. Anyone that wants Poly after the mint phase will be able to buy it on decentralized exchanges. Poly is backed by 2 high-growth treasury assets, multiple HSI hex stakes, 1 at auction, and 1 Hedron stake. As time goes on, each Poly token will be backed by more and more hex, Hedron, and Icosa earned by the Poly Maximus treasury assets. So these 2 things here. The hex stakes, 1 at auction, and the one almighty hex stake. Yes, Hendrik, I did get the t-shirt. Sorry to not address you, man. In these cryptocurrency streams, I only look at the chat when I ask about it, but I did see you there. I got the shirt. You can go back up and look at the start of the stream. Thank you for your recommendation on the shirt size and the graphic as well. So yeah, as the time goes on, each Poly token will be backed by more and more hex, Hedron, and Icosa earned by the Maximus treasury assets. When the stakes end, holders of Poly will be able to redeem their portion of the hex, Hedron, and Icosa in the smart contract by burning their Poly. So Poly is like a step. You're not keeping Poly. You're getting Poly, and then you're burning it to pull out these Icosa, hex, and Hedron. The Poly Maximus Executor. The executor performs the bidding on behalf of Poly Maximus. This is what I'm saying. You don't I personally do not want to do this stuff, right? I do not want to be the one sitting down, going into these auctions and entertaining the auctions and paying the gas fees and all that crap. It's way better if one person does it on behalf of everybody, and that person is the executor. Execute it. Maximus team members will designate. I almost said disintegrate. Execution and disintegrate. Maximus, I'll read this again because I don't want to be stupid about it, but executor is a harsh word. Executor. The executor performs the bidding on behalf of Poly Maximus. Maximus team members will designate the executor. Ooh, I didn't really touch on team either. Team, jeez, team. I touched onto Maxi. I touched onto base, trio, Lucky, and Desi, but I didn't touch on team. Team is the original or the first way to... Team is the overriding... If you staked to the team contract, all of this stuff you're earning from. So you can do your individual base, Lucky, trio, base, trio, Lucky, and Desi, or you could have done team and go all over the top. It's like casting your net across everything. And that's interesting. The Maximus team members, which I am one of, will designate the executor. So we get to choose who executes. Okay. The executor has one function: to place bids on the HSI stakes during the bid period. They will not have admin keys or access to funds. This is the trustless aspect that was mentioned earlier. Important to remember this. Like I said, it's trustless, but the people involved in it are downright good people. During the bid period, poly holders will be able to participate in the formulation of an elite bid strategy by providing thoughts, insights, and recommendations to the recommendation box, which will be given to the executor, who will ultimately execute the bidding at their own discretion. Let me read that again. What, we got a box coming? Well, okay. During the bid period, poly holders, not just Maximus team members, but poly holders here, will be able to participate. So the team members have chosen who's going to do the execution, but during the bid period, poly holders will be able to participate in the formulation of a strategy by providing their thoughts, insights, and recommendations to the recommendation box. That's cool. And that box will be given to the executor, who will ultimately execute the bidding at their own discretion. What does that mean, at their own discretion? So whenever they choose, or on our behalf, but at their discretion. To increase the chance of success, it's recommended that the executor's bidding strategy remains shrouded in mystery. Okay. We choose who the executor is, but the executor does what they want. So the poly holders that participate in the formulation of the strategy by providing their thoughts and insights, ultimately the executor can say, nah, I'm doing it this way. Interesting. Hey, Benny's in the house. G'day, Benny. Benny says, sounds sus, good chance to be rugged. Well, not really, if they have no admin keys or no access to the funds. So they have, just here, it says, the executor has one function: to place the bids on the HSI stakes. They will not have admin keys or access to funds. So there cannot be a rug pull at that point. But I guess by this statement, to increase the chances of success, it's recommended that the executor's bidding strategy remains shrouded in mystery. I'm not pretending to understand it, but that's a bit of a wall for me. I'm a little stuck. Like, that's like saying one thing and then doing the other, right? That's like saying, yeah, you guys are going to be able to give all the guidance, and you guys in the team contract can actually choose who it is, but they can do whatever they want. I don't know. I don't get that. I don't get that. By participating, you agree to have no expectations from the work of others or from the success of the executor bidding. Just like bidding on your own in auctions, there is a risk that any bidder will overpay or not win. If the executor contract does not succeed, the remaining hedron will simply be added to the hedron stake. So with this in mind, maybe I won't go 100% in. Maybe I'll go 50-50. Maybe I'll halve it and keep half of my hedron stakes myself. Benny says, good luck with it. You may need some luck. Interesting. Yeah, okay. I was all down for 100% dump it all and go for it. But if it's, yeah, this bit's kind of got me a little concerned. But I mean, this is the sobering reality of an auction, right? This could happen to any auction. So we're going in as a massive pool in an auction. You technically, because you have more funding, you would, like, if you're going to go and buy this cup and there's 20 dudes that are bidding for it, they've all got $3-4, and then someone comes in and goes, hey dudes, let's all pull together and put all our $3 together and we'll outbid that dude. Because they all got $3, there's 20 of them, they've got way more than the other dude, they can bid higher. But then they only get a portion of the cup and they can't drink from it. It's a lose. Benny thinks this is a lose. Okay. You said loose, but I think you meant lose. Interesting. Okay. The APY. So Poly will be backed by multiple hex stakes and the Hedron stake. The APY for Poly will be determined by hex stakes acquired at the auction phase, daily hex payout per T share, of course, more pays better, Hedron earned from the hex stakes, yes, that makes sense, the amount of Hedron staked, and the ICOSA yield for staking Hedron. Yeah. With all these factors, calculating future earnings is entirely speculative, but a very exciting consideration because of these things, right? After the bid phase ends and all the Hedron is staked, the market will begin revealing this info. So I guess at this point, the question I've got is, what's the likelihood of someone else outbidding the executor? Is there another smart contract such as Poly on steroids, that's doing the same thing with more, or is there a fuck off whale who's going to come in and say, fuck it, executor, I can beat you, executor, I'll do my own bidding. Do the whales see? This is the game theory, right? And this is the gamble. This is gambling, folks, right? It's better than slots, though. Pull that thing and hope for the best. We're twisting our mind up here, hoping for the best. Is there someone out there that's going to outbid the executor? Whales, even 2 or 3 whales could get together and say, hey, dudes or dudettes, do you want to just get together and take this guy for a run? Take this Poly Maximus out for a ride? Or wrap it around a tree by the end of it. And then you've got nothing, right? Well, you got Hedron left over, but it depends how much they put in to the auction. I'm thinking about going half in instead of the 100. I'll probably, oh shit. The thing, okay. Here's the reason why I don't mind going 100% in with Hedron at this point. Hedron is 1-to-1 with Poly, so whatever Hedron I put in, I'll get 1-to-1 Poly out of it. You always mint more Hedron. Hedron is minting daily based upon hex stakes. I've got 5 stakes, right? So my stakes are out for another 13 years. So I'm constantly able to mint Hedron. And get this, if you got in with Hedron at the start, like I did, you got a 10x bonus. So you got, and the multiplier went down to 0 basically, but over the first whatever, if you staked hex during the Hedron phase, 10x your multiplier for Hedron claiming. So every month I'm claiming, like, I just claimed 600,000 Hedron just yesterday, the 1st of November. I do it on a monthly. So it's not like I'm never going to get Hedron again. And I've still got that 10x multiplier for another 3 years. So what I'm saying is, it won't, if I go in 100 on this and all of my Hedron's gone, it's only a short time until I get more Hedron. But it's interesting. It's interesting. Many areas to be screwed, and they are explaining it in words. Vanfrick, in this bull run, the most obvious scams will make most money. You think this is a scam? Vanfrick, when your heed says E, Benny, a lot of people say this is the most brilliant ever. This is the value. This is why the value of it will boom. Rest in peace, Vanfrick. Oh shit. I wouldn't touch it. Your shelf is crooked. My shelf is crooked? No, dude, that's an optical illusion. That's because the camera's angled down and that's flat. So smarten up, H-man. You're an architect. You know that shit. It's the camera pointing down. So the launch phase here. Our goal is to launch Poly Maximus before the start of the Icosa liquidation auction, which is November 13. So you got about another 10 days if you're interested, folks, approximately. With enough time to run the mint phase. So I guess within the next 4 to 5 days, the mint phase will come into play. We are currently building the smart contract and the DApp, and after which we will have security audits completed by a third-party firm. Once we've successfully passed the security audits, we will announce the official launch date, and you can follow on Twitter. What I will do here, I will copy this link, and I will pop that chisel chat in the chat there, so that if you want to go ahead and follow them on Twitter, you can. Benny, you might not have heard this before when you came in, but these guys that are building this smart contract, they've already proven themselves with other bolt-ons, let's call them, to Hex, including all of the perpetuals, which I mentioned earlier. And they not only have proven themselves, but they're super transparent with everything, to the point where they talked about, Dipcatcher, the guy that does all the coding, talked about this on stream as a concept, and then he starts building the contract on stream. So if you want to go and watch the whole process, he's got hours and hours and days worth of live streams where he's coding the whole thing live and taking comments from people and suggestions. So if this is a scam, then the people behind it are 100% out there in the open, and they will cop all kinds of wrath, whatever that ends up being. But they're known people, and they've done it all super openly. So my gut feeling is this is not a scam at all. My gut feeling is it's very, very complicated. Even reading that, I still don't really get it. I mean, I can get it, but then when you start to really try to get it, your head just starts to go a little bit. I go a bit mushy. And I can't quite nail it all down. It's not a scam until it's on a regulated market. Well, look, either way, I've got 2 videos. Oh, actually, I just wanted to show you, before we get into the video, I wanted to show you this. This is YouTube. When you search Poly Maximus on the tubes of you, check this out. This is Dipcatcher. Can you see that? This is Dipcatcher. This is the guy behind it. This is him talking about another add-on to Poly, which is water. Now, I'm not 100% certain about that. I'm not going to touch that today. I don't want to completely blow my head off. But then look, this is Dipcatcher finished the Poly Maximus DApp, streamed a day ago. So these are streams, 1 hour, 40 minutes. Dipcatcher again, Poly Maximus Bender, streamed 3 days ago, 3 hours and 42 minutes. Keep going down here. What I'm trying to show you is you've got Dipcatcher literally building this in front of you. Look at this stream title: Poly Maximus 30-day idea to mainnet challenge. Day 1, breaking ground on the Poly contract. So if you think this is scam worthy, you've had hours and hours and hours and hours of chances to actually speak with the guy behind it. And right there, I'm sure he would explain to you the math behind it and the contract, how it all works. Look, that's a 4 hour, 36-minute stream. That's day 1 of breaking ground, trying to start the contract. So all I'm saying is there comes a time when you have to make a decision. Me personally, I received, and I still will be receiving Hedron on a 10x basis for another 3 years, based upon my hex stakes. All of this, I probably should have hit this better at the start, but all of this is built on top of hex. So if you got into hex when I did, before Big Payday, and you started staking out your hex, you had the chance to mint your hex for Hedron. And if you did it at the beginning of the Hedron launch, you would have got 10x. 10x! And then it progressively went down 9x, 8x, 7, and now it's down to just, you mint it and you get the flat rate. I've already got those 10x's, and they're in there until those hex stakes end. And in many cases, or in the earliest case, it's another 3 years away. So what I'm saying is I'll be receiving more Hedron, so I don't mind gambling on the basis of the integrity of the dudes behind it, Dip Capture and Gold Key, this guy and the guy behind the white paper, which I think you saw his handle up here, Gold Key. I don't mind going in with something that was given to me for gas minting fee only, with the possibility that it could be an absolute wiener, a huge wiener, right? And more hex. So you're going to get more hex out of it. From what you read here, it's sus. If you don't understand it, why would you even consider it? Well, I just explained that. There's nothing wrong about the contract, and I believe there will be big gains in projects like this. Benny, so you just watched it and you don't understand that, and it is all good. Yeah, but I'm not a mathematician. Like I've never, dude. I went through high school and didn't understand math, so I don't like. I'm not excusing myself. I'm just being real with myself. When someone said to me, "You've got one glass," and they give you a second glass, now you got 2 glasses. I understood that. They're visual, right? There's 2 glasses. But when that same person said to me, "Okay, that's not a glass." When the same person said, "You got 2 cups," I'm going to multiply them by Susan's 0 cups, and suddenly my cups disappear? I was like, nah, dude, that's bullshit. I still got my 2 cups. What are you talking about? Just because you multiplied my 2 by her none, I'm not losing my cups. Fuck that. These are my cups. You just said I had 2. 1 plus 1, 2 cups. So that at that point in high school, I was like, okay, maths can fuck right off. If this is the indicator of maths, 1 plus 1 equals 2, then the same indicator cannot say 2 multiplied by their 0 equals 0. It does not. It still equals 2. They're still there. So that's why I don't understand, and that's why I don't pretend to. I let someone else do it. And that's the basis of all crypto, by the way. Unless you're the creator of it, how are you supposed to understand it? You read it, you make a decision, you make the decision based upon your values and your position. In my case, I'll say it again, the Hedron comes for free by a 10x multiplier because I got in on day 1 with Hex Hedron. It's a no-brainer for me. Vanfreak, just because a lot of OG first coiners gained good wealth by Richard Hart's own ETH account in last bull run. Maybe learnt math. But honestly, dude, like, how can you learn if that's the way they teach you in high school or in primary school? How can that's the wrong way to teach, right? You should never use 2 things and say there's 2 there if you can also remove them. I want my cups back, all investors in these projects either see the scam and joins for gains, others think it's a liable project and think it's a new Bitcoin. I rest my case. Hendrik, I reckon digital currency creators schlock should use their real names. I mean, it's not hard to find these people. Helps if you needed to understand something. Helps if it is needed to understand something. I mean, yeah, that's where I'm at anyway. I found it very difficult to understand math. But I'm a realist and I understand what I'm playing with. So I wanted to go and have a look because this is obviously YouTube when you search Maximus, and I found 2 interesting videos here. This could be pro or con. This is from a channel called Maxim Broadcast. This is 2 weeks ago. Is it a bad idea? Maximus initial thoughts is.
So the Maximus white paper has been released, and I tweeted it out if you haven't seen it. It's more or less what I expected, I guess. I do think the contract is a little bit interesting. There were a couple of questions that I had, like how are they going to bid on these HSI auctions? How are they going to use a contract to do that, if they're going to use a contract to do that? And some of that seemed pretty complicated to me, potentially. And it sounds like they answered that question by really they're having an executor, so an individual.
Is an executor? I thought it was an executor. Did I get that wrong? Is it an executor or an executor? I thought it was an executor. Ah, dude, that says executor. EXE, executor. I'm shit with math, but I can spell pretty well. That's an executor, dude. Not an executor. It's an executor. With knives and shit.
On the auctions, and that's fine and good. I think it's a potential value add for people that don't want to necessarily master the system or don't even want to take the time to bid on HSIs. They could have someone that, you know, theoretically is good at this, that has some idea of what he's doing, place the bids for them, and they can give him their money and he'll invest for them. Along that line of thinking, I gotta say this because it's a real observation that I have. I do feel that the Maximus Poly project is pushing the bounds of what the SEC would allow. The contract itself is, of course, stating no expectation from the work of others, but I do feel like as projects go, there is an expectation from the work of others.
Absolutely. I'd agree with him there. There is an expectation of profit. Of course there is. That's why we're all in on it. No shit, Hendrik. Yeah. Hendrik, so many people YouTubing from their cars lately. Yeah, true. It is true, yeah. It seems like all the rage, yeah.
And it's strongly implied, if not explicit, that there's expectation from the work of others. And even in their white paper, they kind of explicitly say that there will be HSIs that that will be basically purchased, and that's an expectation right there. I think it's extremely likely that they are going to actually purchase some HSIs, but I think that is a little bit contradictory, and I think, you know, do I actually think the SEC is going to care about Poly Maximus? Probably not. Fortunately, it's a one-time thing. Poly is going to exist, but the actions are taken over probably a couple of weeks. It sounds like mostly.
Well, that's not exactly true, because the Poly Maximus will also bid on the stakes, and those stakes could be 5-5-5-5. So it's not a one-time short play.
Likely, and then there's going to be no more expectation from the work of others. It's going to be what it is. But I think it's unfortunately a little bit sketchy. I would be a little bit concerned if I was the team behind it, if I was the Maximus team. I wish them the best. I think there's good intentions, and if it doesn't necessarily stop me from, it wouldn't be a reason right now for me to not invest in it. It wouldn't be a reason for me to not want to purchase Poly. Poly, by the way, will be purchased. It'll be one Hedron. We'll give you one Poly.
It's good.
And like I said, there's some advantages. Potentially, you could have someone bid on HSIs that probably knows what they're doing. And you don't have to spend the time watching stuff. Someone could do it. That's great. That's cool. And then they're also going to stake the Hedron that is not used to purchase HSIs. Theoretically, some amount of Hedron that is given for Poly will be placed in the ICOSA Hedron staking pool, and it will be earning ICOSA yield. An advantage for that is that if they have enough Hedron, you know, they're going to have a higher position, and there are bonuses related to, you know, if they end up being a whale, they'll get a 20% bonus. If they're a shark of supply, they'll have a 15% bonus, and a dolphin would be 10. And, you know, if someone has a smaller amount of Hedron, they're not a dolphin, for example, they're not able to get the 15% bonus. Well, a dolphin would be a 10% bonus. They now get that bonus on a smaller input, and that's great. And I think also the Poly gives some potential options that someone wouldn't have if they didn't use Poly. One of those options is that they can now...
Hendrik, there is no crypto on recommended. There's no crypto anymore on DLive. Sucks, eh? It's all slots. Benny, you're not feeling this at all, hey Benny? Let me ask you this, Benny. Let me just pause there. Benny, do you have any hex stakes? I mean, I'm not asking you to reveal numbers, but are you in the hex ecosystem, and do you have the Hedron as well, I guess? Benny is correct. It's sus. Okay. Just a little reminder too, if I see the numbers, if you're watching and you're commenting, if you're not here on DLive, just a heads up. And if you are commenting on this elsewhere, like on Twitter or on Facebook or on YouTube, I'm not seeing your comments. You got to be on this. URL here, dlive.tv/givesaminute. Benny, you didn't. So you might, maybe then you would not. You wouldn't buy Poly, but if you had free Hedron, would you think of this differently? If you're in my position where you've got this token Hedron and you're minting it at a 10x bonus every month, based upon the hex stakes, how long the hex stakes go for, and how many T-shares I'm getting out of each hex stake, what would you think differently if you were given a free token? I'm waiting for the legislation. Are you waiting for legislation on crypto in general, or just on hex crypto legislation? What? Vanfrick, I got the free Hedron, just minted them. There you go. So you've got a bunch of. So you didn't know about this before, Vanfrick? You didn't know about minting your free Hedron? Are you thinking about swapping 1-for-1 for Poly, or 50% of it, or a hundy? Let's continue with this. This guy's got a nice take though.
Basically sell whenever they want. If they had, let's say, a shark position, they're forced to stake, I think, for 270 days. Maybe the market goes up or whatever, they want to sell some. If they were staked in the Hedron pool, and they're, there's some relatively severe penalties for ending your Hedron, your stake. Your
Oh, you just minted it. You did it for me. Oh, cool. Vanfrick, do it for you too, man. Benny, it's coming. Legislation on crypto, global or Australian legislation?
Costa contract Hedron stake. But now if you have the Poly token, you can sell that whenever you want. And, theoretically, the Poly token will hold value because the Poly is backed by the HSIs. For example, the HSIs are hex stakes that are earning yield in hex every day. They're earning yield in Hedron every day. There's a chance also that the Poly Maximus team, that this executor bids on HSIs that have the Hedron multiplier. Some of them have a 10x multiplier. There could be some real Hedron yield over time.
You say global legislation's coming within 4 to 6 years. Interesting.
For these HSIs, and since the Poly is
so wait, hang on. Sorry, that's a different conversation. But just to entertain the idea of not investing in any crypto projects until legislation, am I understanding that correctly, Benny? You're not investing in any crypto until legislation is here. Won't it be harder to get it once it's legislated? Like, isn't it now like anything goes kind of thing, like the wild, wild west, grab it all, and then they legislate it, and then it's going to be more difficult? Wouldn't this be the best time to get it?
Those,
and I'm not just talking about this particular Poly Maximus. I'm just talking about cryptocurrency in general. But I thought you were, Benny. I thought you were in on the Ethereum. You say it's coming globally next year, so 2023 there'll be global crypto legislation. The uncertainty around the legislation will make the prices drop. But, okay, neglecting prices at the moment, think about coins that are deflationary in their mechanism. If a project has a coin that is a capped supply or a deflationary supply, the price in the short term is relatively irrelevant. It's not as important, right? Because less of it, that'll draw price back up after things pan out. I have crypto, just not Hedron. Oh, okay. So, okay. Well, all right, fair enough. So you have crypto, but you're not interested in Hedron until legislation comes out. Okay.
Every day goes and there's more hex and more Hedron, the theoretical value of the poly is, at least if not in dollar value, it's worth more hex and Hedron. And then of course the same thing is happening with the Hedron that is staked in the ICOSA Hedron pool, because every day for that there is more ICOSA given to that stake, and from that the poly that the people hold is worth more ICOSA. And that's
Hedron is just a project for people with already hex stakes. Exactly. I guess I didn't really hit that too clearly at the beginning of this. Hedron is making money of people buying into the project. No, Hedron is making money from the hex contract based around the game theory of hex, in the sense that longer pays better, bigger pays better. So they're basing them. They're acting as a group to fulfill an objective that only certain people, whales, would normally get access to. That's the idea behind all of it, not just Poly Maximus, but the Perpetuals, Maximus team, Maxi, the original one, Maxi, then the Perpetuals, then the Diamond Hands and team. All of these are basically using the mechanism of bigger pays better and longer pays better. If you're a nobody like I am, with very little amount of everything, then you can have a chance to act like a whale by getting involved with a whole bunch of people in a pool. That's the concept behind it. Not all trust Hedron, I guess. I'm seeing that. But yeah, okay. Well, it's good to have this conversation, right? Like, this is why I do these streams, to have this deep dive and to work out ins and outs of things. For sure. I'm stoked to hear. It would suck if both Benny and Van Frick were like, yeah, poly, and they're just like smoking it. It's better to have a conversation with good talking points, for sure.
Great and cool. And I like the optionality that is given through it, through the poly. I think it helps the little guys. And I mean, you can see that the past Maximus projects have done relatively well. I also love the fact that we have different contracts, different teams working together.
True.
I think that's really cool.
That should be true. That should be said too, that Hedron and Maxi are two separate projects with different people behind them. Smoking what? I forgot I had a blunt. Just a heads up, or not a heads up, but just to sort of slide into this conversation a little more, like slide out of it and into the Benny conversation, the legislation and whatnot. So in New Zealand, I was busy watching when I was working, because there's a lot of downtime in my job. So I was busy watching Twitter and reading. I pretty much kept to the top of daily crypto Twitter. There's a lot of crap in there as well, but I kept most up to speed with everything. And during that period, the Perpetuals turned up. Now, I've already kind of explained what they are, but just super quickly, there's hex stakes that you can do. You can stake for 1 day, you can stake for 5 days, 15 years. Hex Polymax. The Maximus Perpetuals, it's kind of already messing my head up here, all the different names. The Perpetuals within Maximus were a group hex stake that you could either choose to do base, which was 1 year. You could either do trio, which is 3 years. You could either do lucky, which is 7 years. Or you could either do deci, which is 10 years. So these were pooled hex stakes. You can, and the reason I'm saying this is because when I was in New Zealand, any income that I earned from my job, any extra income after rent and bills and $29.99 bottles of whiskey and partying, anyway, any money I had left over, I put it into crypto. and I went half Bitcoin and Hex. Every fortnight I went halves in Bitcoin and halves in Hex. Whatever I had left over, split down the middle. At the time when the perpetuals came up, I was like, okay, all right, whatever Hex I've got here, I'm going to use it into these perpetuals. So this idea of waiting for legislation, if I was in that same camp as Benny, waiting for legislation before he invests in certain cryptos, I would have missed out on these perpetuals. The perpetuals are a great way, they're an awesome way to act like a whale when you're just a crab or a grain of sand, even the lowest, right? 50% is good investments. Yeah. I did that, and I worked hard and I worked long hours, 11.5-hour days, in alpine environments, and all the time, whenever I was looking at Twitter, I was like, oh, okay, this is looking cool. This is a cool project. I never once thought about I should wait for legislation before I engage in this. I was like, dude, we're lucky to be here at this particular point in history before all that. I think Hex will moon very high next cycle, even if I still believe it's a total scam. So you have Hex and you think it's a scam? Okay.
I think there's a lot of divisiveness right now, as much as ever, even within the Richard Hart community. There's just, people have their idea of what is good and what isn't, and if anyone disagrees, they don't like it. And it's cool to see projects collaborating together, and I hope this works out really well. I'm not sure yet if I want to, or how much of my Hedron I want to give to the poly contract. I'm still thinking through that myself. I hope it all works out well.
I've been in crypto since 2017. Me, I'm in 2020, I guess. And I tell you, Hex projects will never reach legislation. Benny, do you know what the amount of Bitcoin between 8 billion people? Do you know what the amount of Bitcoin? The amount of Bitcoin between 8 billion people. I know it's capped at 21. Are you asking what the supply is? There's 21 million, and a lot of that's missing because of the nature of when it was invented and lost wallets and whatnot. A lot of people think Hex is a scam. Oh, totally. Hey, totally. Absolutely.
One interesting other thought that I had, for what it's worth, is that the Hedron, the Hedron that's staked in the Icosa Hedron staking pool.
Satoshis. Benny's asking, do you know what the amount of Satoshis is between 8 billion people? So what, 21 million divided by 8 billion? Is that what you're saying? Approximately 0.002625 Bitcoin. Oh, well, that's what I was leading up to, which I neglected to say. I just told you that whole New Zealand spiel and I forgot to hit the key point. I came out of it with a full Bitcoin. So I've got one Bitcoin, and on that note of legislation, at that particular point, if Bitcoin is the only one that gets legislated, I've already got one coin. So I'm pretty happy with that. It's about $50. So what, hang on. So are you saying that if every person out of 8 billion people buys into Bitcoin, they'll only receive 0.62625, about $50? Is that what's the point of that to exactly, like, to say? Because that's not, is that every person getting an individual Satoshi? Is that what you're saying? That is scarcity. But that's not how it works, though. People have lots of it, people have little of it, people have none of it. I've got one of it. Is that what you're trying to say, though? Because not everyone's getting one Satoshi of Bitcoin. Unless I missed the memo.
Is going to be staked, as I understand it, for 15 years. One thought I have on that is it's interesting because it doesn't sound like they're going to compound the Icosa yield from that. It doesn't sound like they're going to pull out the yield partway through and stake it in the Icosa staking pool, for example, which is fine. It's just interesting. And...
It's not enough. Scarcity. So Benny, you're saying that there is not enough Bitcoin to go around, so therefore it'll be valued higher. Is that what you're saying? Hendrik, the delay with Pulse Chain makes a lot of people question Richard Hart. Absolutely, absolutely. There's a lot of FUD going around. Pulse Chain will launch next time Bitcoin skyrockets. Is that right? It is good. So Benny, you're saying Bitcoin is good because there's not enough of it to go around to everybody. So basically, you're saying a cryptocurrency that has scarcity is going to be valued higher, which I understand that, right? That's not. I don't think I needed math to work that out, but all you got to tell me is there's 21 million of them, and there's how many billion people in the world. That's obviously, think about the math, right? Just I get that. I'm not stupid. There's 21 million in that's all there'll ever be, and there's arguably less than that because how much has been lost. And there's about how many billion people in the world? Sure. Yeah. So your point was that it's good. Okay. I mean, I'm stoked I've got one. I'm stoked I got 1.02 or something, whatever I've got. That's the perfect time for getting more first coiners into scams. Okay.
Another interesting thing is, while I think that there's, I have relative confidence in Hex, and I've placed, you guys have seen, I've placed, a real amount of, I showed you guys, I have a million Hex that you guys know about, staked for 15 years using HSI. So I have Hex staked clearly for 15 years. But when you stake using the poly contract, if you wanted to hold your poly for 15 years, you are also not only saying that Hex is going to be here and be worth something in 15 years, you're also, if you're willing to hold your poly that amount of time, you're also saying that the Hedron and Icosa are going to be doing well in 15 years also. And the cool thing is you can sell anytime you want. So if something happens, you can get out. But it's interesting that we now have another project related to the Hex, which is fine, but the Icosa and Hedron projects that are really kind of assuming they're going to work well for 15 years. And I do not currently see a reason why it won't, but I do see a lot of unknowns. And, I see Hedron myself and Icosa as algorithmic stable coins, which is
interesting way to look at it.
Hard for me to explain well, but they're trying to basically be a stable coin versus the T-share rate and versus Hex in various ways. And we've seen some algorithmic stable coins have done okay, some haven't. And I mean, we will see if the Icosa and Hedron projects work well. I personally think, for whatever it's worth, if they do, if Hedron and Icosa, if Icosa specifically stays in parity with Hex, with the definition of what that means, for 15 years, I think Icosa is going to be worth a lot of money. And I've already talked about this, but if Hedron reaches parity, it's out of parity right now. It's not a stable coin versus Hex in the way that Icosa is. Then I think Hedron has a massive potential price increase. I've said this a lot. I love Hedron. I love Icosa. I think they're trying to do good things. I think they're risky. I think they have a lot of upside, but there's more risk with them. And it's interesting seeing the Poly Maximus contract based on the assumption that basically the Icosa and Hedron projects are going to do well for 15 years. And that's all good. These are just thoughts that I have. And I think it's overall I think it's a great thing. But I'm trying to be as realistic as I can. That's why I'm talking about the SEC. That's why I'm saying, 15 years is kind of a long time. I mean, in crypto terms, that's a very long time,
It'll go by very quickly though. Benny, have you considered the price of ETH in 5 years for your Hex and gas fees? Oh, dude, I don't want to. I don't want to think about that. That's the frightening side of dealing with Ethereum, right? Yeah. I mean, What was it? My first hex stake that I staked for a year, I staked, what was it, 50 bucks, and it came out at $6,000. Remember I did that on stream? Was it 300 bucks? I think it was 300 bucks. I think it was 300 bucks, and it came out at $6,000. And the gas fees was like what was it, 400 or something? TX fees at $2 today. ETH 2.0 is amazing. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's that too, I guess. It's worth saving for. I mean, I've got a little ETH. Keep a little there on the side. Start now. I already keep a little ETH just for gas, but my Ethereum holdings are just for that, just for gas. I don't look at that as an investment in terms of the price of Ethereum going up. I just look at it as, okay, I need that because I need to transact.
Bitcoin is not 15 years old yet, but those are some of the thoughts off the top of my head concerning the Maximus contract and what we know now, and at least some of the thoughts that I'm thinking through. Anyway, guys, talking to you from my Tundra pickup today, and anyway, thanks for listening. I appreciate all of you. Have a great day.
So I'll give you guys this guy's channel if you want to support him. Is that what I'm playing? That's gonna what I play. Maxim Broadcast is his channel. If you want to go and give that guy some love, I'll pop it in the channel. Did the tax department nail you for that trade? So let's keep our private finances private. Hey, Benny, let's keep that private. So in the interest of fair documentation, though, let's take a look at a second video here on Maximus. This one here is from a channel called Let's Get Free TV. He's got the YouTube thumbnail stuff down. Stupid grin and a big thumbs up. A deep dive into Maximus. Let's check it out.
Yo, what is going on, y'all? It is X from Let's Get Free TV, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about the Maximus project. So
what is wrong with his resolution, man? That's all bunk.
I'm going to share some of my thoughts. We're going to go through the white paper, things like that. So if that sounds good to you guys, do not forget to tap that thumbs up button, as it helps me out on the YouTube algorithm, and also tap that subscribe button if you enjoy me or the content. That being said, let's just hop right into the video.
He's also a bit low in volume.
So starting off, what is Maximus,
okay, so
guys? All right, so Maximus empowers you to...
He just said guys. I'm not really interested in YouTubers that say guys every 5 minutes, but we've already read the smart contract, the white paper. So let's just move forward to when he finishes on the white paper. It looks like I don't trust low res. So if he's just going to read the white paper, looks like he's just reading the white paper the whole time. Okay. Well, that's a shame. I mean, we read the white paper and I think we understood most of it, or we did what we could to understand most of it. Well, in that case, I guess what we can do is we can move on to beefy finance in a moment, but I just wanted to sort of like wrap this section up because in the way I'm looking at this, there's two things at play here. This Maximus would not be for you, and I think Van Freak already hit this. This is not for you if you don't already have Hex stakes. So if you're looking to buy Poly, I can't imagine that will be a good play. I mean, it's definitely an opportunity or an option for you, but this is more about if you're already in Hex, this is another add-on. There's many add-ons to Hex, the bolt-ons if you like, many of them out there. I told you last week about that weight token. There's a token Hendrik mentioned before. Delay with Pulse Chain is making a lot of people question Richard Hart. Someone made a token based upon that. It's called weight. The value of weight increases the longer you don't claim it. The thing is, you've got up until the moment Pulse Chain launches to claim it. Because if Pulse Chain launches and you haven't claimed your weight tokens, you don't get them. They're gone. So from the moment of creation of this contract up until Pulse Chain launches, you can choose a period to go, oh, I'll claim those tokens. And who gets them? Hex stakers. So if you're a hex staker, you got wait tokens, they're sitting there for you. All you gotta do is click claim. Do it. If you believe it's coming soon, the thing is, if you think it's coming in a year from now and you're willing to wait longer, the value of the amount you claim goes up. So all these things are just bolt-ons or build-ons on top of hex, and I find it very exciting. I find it also very it's not mind changing, but it's definitely mind. You asked me this 2 years ago, and I would have been like, "Bah, I don't even know what you're talking about." Now my mind is working overtime to process all this, and I'm keeping myself engaged in it. So you get this, you feel like a better person just because you're learning this stuff. It's kind of like the equivalent is like me trying to when I changed my alternator and whatnot on my vehicle. Before I did that, I never even knew what an alternator was. And now I know where it is. I know how to tighten up the alternator belt, and I can do it. And that's the same kind of thing with crypto. And for that, I'm going to say thank you to the Hexicans that came in on this stream 2 years ago, approximately, and got me interested in Hex. And also, thank you DLive. Yeah, thanks DLive for putting cryptocurrency up there at the forefront when they did. They've obviously withdrawn all that and taken all that away. There's nothing crypto related here on DLive anymore, to the point where they don't even promote crypto streams anymore. There used to be a sidebar. Now it's all just gambling slot machines. Things change, I guess. And I'm not going to start looking at the slot machine crap, though. I'm not interested in that. But yeah, DLive got me into crypto. The Hexicans got me into Hex. And now I feel like my knowledge of all things crypto has increased because I'm engaged in it on a daily basis, whether that be flicking through Twitter and looking at people discussing things that I know about or things I don't know about, or whether that be watching Dipcatcher stream trying to create a smart contract. Not that I ever want to do that myself, but it's pretty interesting to broaden that in an older man's mind, to broaden those minds and get those synapses and schnapses. I wouldn't mind a schnapses, to get all those schnapses working together. Feels good. Feels good. Feels like school has continued in my later years. Please work on your math. Nah, that's gone. That's all gone. There's no chance of that, Benny. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to take a slash, and we're going to come back. We're going to look into Beefy Finance. This is a request from Comptech. Beefy Finance has some lovely images, some including New Zealand. These are all photographs that you yahoos have supplied. Love images, love photographs. Well done. I'll be back soon. Ooh, that's a very good point. Good day, by the way. Hi, Res. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to have you. Good to know you. Cheers. You should... Oh, hang on. Hi, Res says, I hope Elon integrates Doge with Twitter. That'd be interesting. Now, I don't know much about Dogecoin, but I do own a little. And isn't it completely inflationary forever? Isn't that part of the contract where it creates its own coins? So it's an inflationary supply for perpetuity even. For that word. I believe so, which doesn't really speak very... I mean, when do they burn Dogecoin? When does Dogecoin ever get burnt? Let us move on, folks. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at Beefy Finance. Now, this is a request from Comptech. So what are we looking at here, Comptech? Beefy Finance. It's a coin for the use at the moment. It loses its value all the time. That is true, but there's more to it. Okay. So what is this? Beefy Finance. This looks like liquidity providing, right? I mean, that's what we're looking at, but I got a video here. Now, be wary of these kind of videos, but this is from a channel called DeFi Yields. How to make $50 a day passive income on Beefy Finance, a step-by-step guide.
What's up, guys? Chris Comrie here from DeFi Yield app. Hope you're having a good day. I'm back at you with another yield farming tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about Beefy Finance.
Now, just yield farming. So just before we get too deep into this, I find, and I'm going to just segue out here just momentarily. I find I've already got a lot going on with this Hex and all the other things, the bolt-ons and everything that's going around Hex. I probably won't invest in this. Pulse Chain is coming and there's a lot built around it, and I feel like I've already got my hands full with that. You have crypto pairs that you can farm. Right on. Yeah, and Comptech, we've seen this before with like Sun.io and the other I guess like Bankroll.network and those kind of things, right? Same kind of thing going on here. Yeah, I'm dead set keen to learn about it, but I'm probably pretty hesitant to invest in it. But let's learn.
The Phantom blockchain. Phantom has been pretty hot lately, so we've been doing a couple videos here on Phantom Network. And we're going to be going in and I'm going to show you how to yield farm on Beefy Finance. So real quick, if you haven't already, smash the subscribe button down.
So Vanfreak says, think about this. I start a vanfreak.yield farm. I say passive income is 10% if locked in for 1 year. How many YouTube views that invest $100 do I need before I can make this run? It's like Sun.io and Bankroll. The rates are impressive. And so for that, so you have to put your coins onto these DApps, right? Or these exchanges. You're risking your coin for a very high APY, and a lot of times these things disappear, such as those TRX farming stuff that we were looking at that I think, not high res, but Coin Captain, myself, and someone else got involved in, and we lost it all. So I don't know. I'm not that keen to put anything into these exchanges or these DeFi or these protocols. I feel a bit frightened doing that. But anyway, let's learn.
Below, so you get notified when new video tutorials come out. And another good way, just so you guys know, I'm not sure how many people actually know this, but if you want to be notified about different yield farm rates and APR percentages on yields across different chains, the DeFiYield.app.
Sun.io is still a pretty big project. Yeah, well, I mean, we looked into that a year ago or so, and we put a little TRX in there. I can't remember. I haven't looked at it since then, but yeah.
Here has it's got over 33,000 followers, but we tweet out every day different yields that you can find on different chains. I mean, this APR is 3,942%. So you're
3,942%. But
definitely going to want to look into what kind of protocols are using and what the risks and if they've been audited and if they've ever been hacked before. But just some good things for you guys to know when you're on your yield farming journey here. So and so let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to be using Beefy Finance.
hey, Suki. Hello, Suki. Evening, Ben on Gibbs. How you doing?
So we'll go ahead and you can hit the little cow button here, and this will take you into the app. And I'm not sure why it shot me to Binance Smart Chain, but we'll go to the Phantom app right here. And so then we can scroll here and find, and Beefy is similar to Yearn, like if you've seen the other tutorials on Yearn Finance, it aggregates the yield for you all in one place. So what the way you can read it here is that the top part shows you what tokens it's using, and then it shows you what protocol it is on. For example, this one uses Beethoven X. Now, so these are all on the Phantom network, and then the different protocols are on the below part. So this one uses Spirit Swap, this one uses Beethoven, this one uses Geist, this one uses Curve, and you can see.
So these are all the contracts they interact with? I've never heard of any of them. Liquidity, low liquidity, high yield for locked values. Right, low liquidity equals a high yield. Okay.
All the different ones that they have. There's actually a lot of different ones on here. So, but today we're going to be using stable coins. And because this 30% APY here is pretty good.
Mayunas! Wow! Thank you, Suki. Wow! How you doing? Happy Halloween post-party days. Pliskin Snake with the follow. Yo, Pliskin, thanks for following the Gives a Minute D live stream. Now this makes you the latest giver right here on the channel. Now why would this make you a giver? Well, let me explain. You see, you're giving me your time to consume the content, whereas me, I'm a giver because I'm giving you my time to create the content. And so you see how we're both givers here, and this is a two-way street. But you're the latest giver on the Gives a Minute D live stream. Thanks to follow Pliskin. Pliskin, what a lovely handle. Thanks for following.
For stable coins, you know, anything above about 20% is pretty good on stable coins, and I've seen it up as high as 60 to 70% sometimes as well too. So you just got to be careful where you're depositing your money, and I really like their
70% on a stable coin. I mean, you're not even going to get 10% on a bank, but then again, you got to put your money into these things, dudes, and they often rug. They're often gone, right? I think this is a big risk.
Note here, using smart contracts, tokens, and crypto is always a risk. DYOR before investing. That means do your own research. So again, this is not investment advice. This is just teaching you how to use different yield farming protocols and networks and tactics so that you can earn more money yourself. I'm not a financial advisor. So let's go ahead and jump in here. We want to go into the Rect database. And
seriously, they actually call it the Rect database?
I already typed it in here. And if you see how my screen's dark, you'll notice I put it into dark mode. A couple days ago, I decided to go dark mode with all my apps just because I thought it'd be fun. Dark mode's kind of nice sometimes. So,
Vanfrick, yeah, this is just me showing a bunch of different scam projects.
Using, let's see, we're going to be going into this farm right here. So it's DAI USDC. So DAI is a stable coin, and USDC is a stable coin. So we'll go ahead and click that there. And yours will all have zeros right here. I put some in here earlier just to test it out, make sure everything was working fine. So we bridged over our DAI on from Ethereum over to Phantom. And if you need a quick refresher on how to bridge it over, check out docs.spookyswap.finance/product/bridge, and it'll show you how to bridge it over. And again, that could take, I think it only took me about 20 minutes today to bridge it over. Usually, sometimes it can take up to a couple hours. I've had it take a while before. So it just depends on the congestion in the network and depends on a couple things. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into this one right here. And the cool part is this is really cool. You know, in a lot of videos we've talked about you need to have your two coins together to yield farm on them. So in this case, it's basically like yield farming with only one stable coin because they're both worth $1. So we shouldn't have any impermanent loss there. But we actually get the benefit of being able to be a liquidity provider in this pool. So, and the cool thing about Beefy is on a lot of protocols when we need to put the two coins
What do you got there, high res? What's that linky poo, dude?
together, we have to buy one and then buy the other and make sure they're equal and smash them together like you've seen in some of the other videos. But on Beefy, you can just put in the one coin. So I'm actually going to just put in die here. And then if you read down here, it says, well, I'll show you in a second here. So we'll put in all of our die, and you can use your little slider here. So it actually will split your die into USDC. So it'll trade half your die into USDC, as you can see right here. So deposit will result in 48.39 die and 48.28 USDC, plus or minus a little slippage in deposit fee. So that is the way that it works. It's really cool. So it just saves you time and saves you gas and just makes it a whole lot easier. You only have to do one step instead of a couple. So you're going to have to hit.
I do remember that was a bit of a nightmare when we were using Sum.io, having to get the two pools together.
Should be an approve button right there for you. I'm going to just go ahead and hit deposit. And so we're going to deposit that die in there. And then slide this guy out of the way for you. We'll hit confirm. And should go through in just a second here.
High res, it's a rug pull on a scam coin, more for comic value. I thought I'd give you a chuckle. Oh, well, I'm all for it. Let's take a look at, well, let's grab that out of the chat first so we don't lose it. And then we'll come back to it. Where are we? We're over here, aren't we? Yeah, we'll take a look after this.
And we'll go ahead and deposit success. So we'll go ahead and refresh this page here just to make sure everything checks out. And look, we've got $106 deposited right here at 30.66% APY, which is really good. So if we deposited, I don't know, $5,000, we'll say 5,000 times 0.306%, because we're earning 30% right here. And then divided by 12. That means we earn $127 per month, or if we want to split it up into days, about $4.25. Completely passive income just by depositing $5,000 into this pool here. So,
but again, you're putting the money into that smart contract or that protocol, and there's no way to get that back if they disappear overnight. So, just saying.
That's really cool stuff here. I'm impressed by the team at Beefy Finance here. And one quick thing we want to note, so it was Spirit Swap, and we should have done this. I already did it earlier, so we skipped it over. But I already did it. So you want to check Spirit Swap and check here in the rec database and see if they've been hacked before. So I went ahead and clicked on Spirit here, and it looks like they had some issues, but with
look at that right there. The Spirit Swap has been hacked, an exit scam in 2021. As I told you, how many people I need to make a contract deposit to make my project run? Yeah. So you could set this up overnight and just add your own to it, and then you could just rug pull.
The sentiment of the community around the Phantom Network and Spirit Swap and Beefy as well. We can type in Beefy.
What he just said then, the sentiment around the community, I feel like I'm a hexagon and I'm involved in that community, and it seems like these other ones that are around, it's too much. It's too much for me to get involved with. I don't have enough time to deal with it to begin with.
Here to see if Beefy has been hacked before. Again, these are just things we need to be thinking through when we're going through tutorials, and Beefy didn't seem to have any issues here. So that's good there. But we just need to keep this in mind because you get 0% if you get hacked and all your funds are lost. So just keep in mind, this stuff is risky.
The reward ratio to risk here is higher and therefore you are earning more. And Comtech, I hope you don't take this the wrong way. Like everybody's. Let me just get out of there for a second. Everybody's free to interact with what they will, when they will, wherever they will. It's their will, right? So I'm not casting any judgment at all here, but you have to be aware of the risk, and therefore you also can reap the reward. Jay Boston, if you're still here watching, I just coined your phrase. So if you're willing to take that risk, you can reap those rewards, but there is an inherent risk. And with these kind of things, there is way more risk. In my mind, there's more risk here than there is in any of the stuff that we learn about with Maximus and the perpetuals and Hex. The risk is greater on these places because of the nature of how many there are, how often they pop up, who they're involved with. My gut feeling is I'm not touching it. Math or no math, I'm not touching it. But I can understand that people do get involved, and great. It's not for me though. Van Frick, the rug pull is hidden real until 50% of the depositors wants their money back, unless people are being adopted in. Then the project disappears. Yeah.
It can be a lot of fun, and it can earn you some good passive income. But you got to be very careful out there. So thanks so much for joining me. One quick thing I forgot to mention. If you come over to you can learn more about Beefy if you want. You can come into YouTube and type in DeFi Yield app. The first one should pop up right here, and you click on there.
So this is his.
If you go into
this is his promo for his channel. I'll tell you what I'll do instead. I'll give you his channel link here, and you can go and give him some support if you want. There he is there. Pliskin Snake, what happens to crypto during an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse? Nothing. What do you mean? Like, what happens to crypto? But in the spirit of goodwill, let's take at least two videos on the subject. Here's another video. This is from the Crypto Warehouse. Beefy Finance, feast or famine?
Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse 5-minute review. Today we're going to be taking a look at Beefy Finance, a yield aggregator. This isn't for beginners, it's for people who understand a little bit about crypto.
Comtech, I got the Milk USDT pair. Okay. I'm happy, dude. I'm happy for you. Like, psyched and stoked for you. I'm just not gonna touch it. I tell you what I would do though. I would send. So I have crypto faucets and a little Apple script that helps me to run those faucets, and I would send money from that into these liquidity providing pools for sure. Like if you've earned it through nothing by pressing a button, then like I'm not taking what I don't have in here and putting it in a liquidity farming pool. But I will take whatever I've earned drip fed from some faucet and put it there.
Before we start, please like and subscribe to the channel and help.
Before we start, please like and subscribe to the channel? No, you idiot. If I like your content, I'll like the video and I'll subscribe to the channel. That's like saying, well, it's not like saying that. I was going to say it's like saying, please forget about it. I'm not doing it.
Help us grow. Next, Brogan is going to explain what is Beefy Finance. The Beefy Finance UI is very simple and easy to use. Brogan is going to take you through the simple steps now to stake your coins.
Yep, so if you go to the initial UI, this is what you'll see when you first log onto the website. We have a connect wallet button in the top right where it will give you your certain options for your wallets on your browser. Once you're connected, you can go down to this little top bar here, which shows the 16 blockchains, which we mentioned earlier. So I'm going to go to Polygon, for example, and filter by Matic. So I'm going to go to the first option here, which is in fact boosted, which we also mentioned earlier.
Damn it, Benon. Like, share, and subscribe.
So here you can see on the right side, we have a deposit and withdrawal, which is obviously where you'll deposit your tokens. So for the interest you earn on your deposited tokens compounds onto what you already have staked. And obviously with withdrawal, you can withdraw how much you want from what you staked. And if you scroll down, you'll see our active boost section. So when you stake something and it's boosted by Lido, you can withdraw the Lido tokens from this pool without affecting any of the tokens you already have staked.
One of the most important aspects about using any online service such as Beefy Finance is knowing who they are, what they are, and how to get hold of them if there's a problem. Luckily, Beefy Finance has a very active Discord channel. We will leave a link below to their Discord channel. And they're also very, very active on Twitter, regularly sharing any promotions that they have on their pools. For example...
That doesn't really mean anything, though. If you're active on Twitter, you can still rug. It's not like they're actually people. By the way, how are these two, Brogan and Mike, how are they getting when they both got pop filters on? Both of these dudes are getting a big but they've got pop shields on. I'm out. I wanted to say hi. Much love. Thank you, Suki. Have a pleasant slumber. Catch those Z's. See you soon. Comtech, I wanted to make you aware of this, not financial advice, just information. I'll keep you posted. Yeah, no, Comtech, dude. I appreciate it, man. Like, really. And like, man, to be completely frank, a year ago or a year and a half ago, I would have been in this. I would have gone for it, right? But just looking at like the previous ones that we tapped into, I feel like, this is very personal for me, I feel like where I've moved into another side of crypto, which is all this built stuff built around Hex. And I'm kind of more focused on that. Not that these can't be good for people as well, but for me personally, and that's why I'm still looking at it, because I don't want to miss out. Like, I don't want to not know about it, but I don't think I'll use them. But definitely keep hitting me up with things that you find, man. Like, this cryptocurrency stream is where we all learn about. We can all learn as we go along. So, yeah. Yeah, don't spread yourself too thin. Do your own thing. Bingo, bango. Right on.
Occasionally, they will offer boosted pools where you will stake a coin, and in addition to earning interest on that coin, you will also earn additional interest in Lido, for example. So, the benefits of Beefy Finance. I've been using Beefy Finance for around about 6 months, mainly on the Polygon chain. For me, the benefits are very simple. It's easy to use. It's a single point of contact for accessing the different chains with my different tokens. Thirdly, it's very easy to change from one pool to another. So when I've been using the Matic pools and there's been a boost available on another Matic pool, it's taken about 3 or 4 minutes to switch from one pool to another. For me, it's an incredibly simple and an incredibly effective platform to use.
Some of the drawbacks I found when I was using Beefy Finance was that I imagine it's very hard to get into as a beginner. Secondly, it's very dependent on other chains for operations. So, for example, if one of the chains used by Beefy Finance was hacked, it would have a negative impact on Beefy Finance itself. And lastly, there is impairment loss on liquidity pools. We'll insert the definition of impairment loss now.
Impermanent loss. When a token price rises or falls after you deposit it into a liquidity pool, this is known as crypto liquidity pool's impermanent loss.
For me, Beefy Finance is as safe as it possibly can be. They are a risk-averse company and they deal mainly in well-known crypto brands and websites. There is always going to be risk that other chains are hacked, but in Beefy Finance's case, they take every precaution possible. This includes swapping any native tokens that might be paid out by the relative chains into the currency that you have staked, thus reducing any loss or possible loss on that token. So for me, I would give Beefy Finance a 9 out of 10 for security and safety. So Brogan, the moment of truth. Yes or no for Beefy Finance?
Well, it's a yes for me. However, there is one caveat to this yes, is that we really need to watch out for impairment loss. So everything about the platform is perfect. I really like the UI. However, you can really get messed up in consideration of the impairment loss. What about you? What do you think of this platform?
Mine's also a yes. I am an active user of Beefy Finance and actually hold some of BeFi token. The only other thing I would look out for, apart from impairment loss, is as a beginner or a newly intermediate user, I would stay away from the high APR LPs and I would focus on the blue chips. So I would look for, there is a rating system that they offer between
Brogan. Don't like that name, Hendrik?
about 6 and 10. So I would look for everything that's a 9+. I would look for everything that's got a lot of funds already invested. Look for the TVL. And I would stick to the blue chips. And by blue chips, I mean the major coins such as Ethereum, Bitcoin, Matic, Aave, the main coins that are in the top 30
Their background
or
audio
40.
track is a
Okay,
little
well, thank
loud.
you everyone for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. Make sure the notifications on as well.
There we go, folks. Crypto Warehouse. If you want to give these guys some love, I'll give you their channel in the Chisel chat machine. That way you can go and give them some much needed love. Let's take a quick look before we move on to the video that Hi-Rez just dumped in, and that's how we'll wrap the stream up. I got this here. So this came to me last week. This is okay, so I don't know anything about this, right? But they've got a funky website. This is early access into a platform known as Everse. I'm going to give you this link as well because this link was emailed to me, but now I'm putting it out there for the public to see as well. Early access into this. Join, and we won't take long on here because I just want to make a point about this. Join the revolution, shape the future of the social media landscape. Community participation. We want you to be a part of our community since we don't consider anyone a user. There are only 2 industries that call the customers users: illegal drugs and software. Content creator. We want to be the most creator-centric platform through the use of Web3 tech to enable you to focus on what you do best, creating content. It all sounds lovely. If you don't know what it is, does the home button tell us a little? We are revolutionizing the creator economy. The video platform of the future, right? This sounds wonderful. Our mission is to establish the world's first community of liberated creators and fully engaged participants. Everse is a place where content creators can express themselves freely while being compensated fairly for their creativity. This provides fans with entertaining content while being rewarded by gamification and watch to earn elements. Ultimately, the community can decide on the platform's future via the DAO, which is Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Now, as you read that, what do you think of? What I think of is DLive back in the heyday. All those things, right? All these things. A place where content creators can express themselves freely and being compensated fairly for their creativity. Fans entertaining with content while being rewarded by gamification. Watch to earn elements. These are all, and ultimately the community can decide the platform's future via the DAO. This is exactly what DLive was in the early days. So what the hell is Everse? The problem with social media today, existing platforms require the user and creators to be the product, and these platforms retain content ownership rights. Did that just change? It did, didn't it? 206. Okay. Everse demonstrates that there is a better way. We resolve these major platforms' problems with Everse Network, from user experience to creator monetization options and everything in between. Flipping social media on itself, existing platforms retain and control and extract. Platforms retain all control and extract all their value out of the very communities that build them up. Web3 tech enables the model to be flipped on its head, allowing stakeholders, right? Stakeholders, stake your Lino points. This is the same thing again. whether you want to engage your own community with an application powered by the Everse protocol and tokens, or be a part of the Everse community, giving power and control back to the users. Own your content. Be rewarded for participating on the platform. Interact with your favorite creators. Leverage the protocols and features to form and interact with aligned communities. Guide the standards, policies, monetization, and rules on the platform. This is just the beginning. Letting the community decide how the platform functions. The Everse DAO will enable the governance of the platform to be both transparent and accessible for everyone who holds Everse tokens. Centralized Web 2 platforms should be a thing of the past. I'm agreeing with everything here, folks. Powering the digital economy. The tokenization of the platform will power a digital economy where creators and fans can earn and spend tokens on content as NFTs, donations, subscriptions, digital physical merchandise, and staking reward mechanisms. Empowering communities. The protocol that powers Everse can be utilized by any community seeking to interact with each other, centered around the content they love. You will have all the tools at your disposal to enable you to focus more on content and community. Everse, look at this, social media meets blockchain. Everse is transforming the digital economy by empowering creativity and putting control back into the hands of the community through the use of Web 3. So we got content feed, Everse, and blah, 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 revolution, distribute. So I'm going through this relatively quick just because, where's the scroll bar here? It all looks rad, right? It all looks rad. The team behind it. It sounds like that, Ben, on CompTech, right on. This sounds exactly like DLive early DLive. Here are the people behind it. Michael Turpin, Lou Kerner, Corey McCauley, John Van Leer, Lisa Yu, their advisors. Marketing manager Charlotte Miller, Ezon Sison, product. Excuse me. Wahoo! Excuse me. Got a little too excited here. So these yahoos, right? And then, oh, wait a sec, how come that's going down like that? Went the wrong way. Passionate disruptors and industry veterans. Benji Friedman, David Wethermine, Joel Friedman, Carl Schmidt, Mike Mayer, Felix Baum, and these yahoos we've already seen. So early access. Before I did that, before I went in and went early access, I just did a little search thinking Everse on YouTube, right? And I couldn't find anything about Everse. Nothing about this. There's an Everse amplifier. Nothing about if this is the new social media. Goodness gracious me. If this is the new social media revolution, I don't know what the hell's going on there. How come there's nothing about Everse on YouTube? Nothing. So I thought, okay, what are we looking at here? I went early access. How come it didn't pop up? Damn, we need to act quick. Where's the donation address? And Pilkin, thank you for the bless you. So I think, just out of memory, I think I had to do this in like with a wallet connected. So I had to be on the Brave browser, I think. Let me just try this off scene. I don't want to bring up any pertinent details, but I think I had to be off. I just want to check this because there was something funky when I went to early access. I think it prompted me to add my wallet or something sketchy. Okay, so it's not doing it. Brave browser shields are up. I'll turn the shields off. Let me just log into Metamask and see. I'm already logged in. Okay. Okay, I guess I can show you this then because it's nothing strange. But I just opened this up in the Brave browser here. Let's drag this out so we can see it clearer. But yeah, I thought from memory when I hit this page, because I saw this about a week ago, when I hit this page, it opened up my MetaMask. Am I on the wrong network? I'm on Ethereum mainnet. No, it's on mainnet. Yeah, it popped up with a. I think it did anyway. There was something sketchy about it that I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. And it's not doing it again. Maybe it's because I revoked their. Where is the There's a way to find whose contracts you've declined. But either way, I just thought I'm interested in that, right? That looks rad. But the fact that there's nothing on YouTube about it, no one's talking about it. It's called Everse. There's another product by the same name. It's an amplifier or something to do with hardcore, heavy music production. And there was a sketchy thing when I first looked at it. So I might give that one a wide berth, or we'll come back and check it out over time, right? Early access is usually good to get in on, but as you're seeing, there's nothing to be done there. It's not doing anything, right? There's no early access at all at this stage. So you might want to keep that bookmarked yourself. Vanfrick with another link, acuity.social. What's that, dude? What's acuity.social? Is that the Yahoos behind this? Is that what you've just done? Did you just find the Yahoos? Acuity.social. It's new social media. Oh, okay. I posted it earlier. I didn't see it, dude. I didn't see that, sorry. Well, look, I'll take a look at this another time, but let's take a look at this live. Oh, I've seen this before. Squid token rug pull. I've seen this before. We'll go out with this, folks. This is pretty funny.
Amount of coins that are locked, staked, whatever the fuck's going on, that would be the fully. But obviously the real one is not.
It's a squid token.
The market cap is $2.168 trillion. And now the market. Oh! It went to zero! Yo! Damn! There we go. Squid Games. Sayonara, motherfucker. Oh, good lord. Holy shit. You seen it live, baby. You seen it live. A goddamn rug pull, baby.
Right there.
Shit. A live rugging. Wow. Holy fucking moly, man. That is a live rug pull. What the fuck happened here?
That's pretty funny.
What happened here, dude?
My Unis. Wow. Thank you, Hi-Res. Thanks for putting that in. Oh, what's this? I guess we'll take a look at this. This title of this video is life savings lost on Squid Games crypto scam. We might as well watch it, right? While we're here, and then we'll go out with this. But Hi-Res, thank you for putting. I had seen that already, and yeah, it's phenomenal to have been there. I wasn't watching it live. I don't know that guy's channel, but it's phenomenal that he caught that live. Literally, he's just looking into the coin and the tokenomics, and then all of a sudden, the candle goes right down to nothing, and the big red. He's like, "What? That's live? That's funny."
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Wall Street Millennial. On this channel, we cover everything related to stocks and investing. Today, we're switching things up a little bit and talking about Netflix's mega hit show, Squid Game.
And by the way, is that token still gone? Like, it was a complete rug pull, right? Like, disappeared. I'm pretty certain it did.
Which has garnered more than 100 million views in the first month since its release. This makes it the most successful series on the platform by a wide margin.
By the way, I watched this when I was bedridden for a week in New Zealand, and yeah, I had to isolate. I watched this in one go. It was awesome. Good show.
If you haven't watched it yet, it's a dystopian drama meant to portray how savage human beings can be to each other when monetary gain is on the line. The reality of human nature can sometimes be seen as far worse than anything depicted in this fictional Korean setting. You don't need to watch a TV show to see examples of people deceiving and throwing their fellow man under the bus just to make a quick buck. This has become painfully apparent in the past few years, with crypto scams which have increased substantially both in their frequency and sophistication. Shortly after the show's release, anonymous crypto developers made a Squid Game cryptocurrency, which almost immediately started skyrocketing in value. It started out at 1.2 cents per coin on October 26th. By its peak on November 1st, it had increased more than 23 million% to $2,800
23 million%.
per coin. You might think the early
To what did it top out at?
increased more than 23 million% to $2,800 per coin.
2,800 a coin.
You might think the early investors in this coin have made a life-changing amount of money based on the obscenely favorable price action. Unfortunately, this coin turned out to be a complete scam, and the only people who walked away with any money were the anonymous founders. Squidcoin was a classic crypto rug pull operation, where the founders lied to investors about their plans and disappeared with the money almost as soon as the unsuspecting investors bought the worthless coins. In this video, we'll go over what the Squidcoin is, how the founders were able to scam more than $3 million, and how you can avoid falling victim to similar schemes in the future. The Squid crypto scam unfolded at a dizzying pace. The Squid Game show was released on September 17, 2021. Almost immediately after its release, it became obvious that it would be a mega hit. Crypto scammers were quick to smell opportunity and started developing a new coin to take advantage of the hype. By October 21st, a little over 1 month after the show's release, they launched the coin anonymously. On their website, called squidgame.cash, they explained the functionality of the coin. They claimed to be working on an online version of the games featured on the show.
The functionality? An online version of the game?
Players would be able to enter into the games by depositing Squid crypto coins. 90% of the entry fees paid by the players will go into a prize fund. The remaining 10% will go to the developers as a fee. Similar to the TV show, the prize fund is divided among the people who successfully complete the games. Thus, the more players that are eliminated, the greater will be the prize per player who completes the games. You can think of their planned game as an online casino, where people put real money at risk in the hopes of winning it big. By this point, Squid Game had become an international phenomenon, with hundreds of millions of fans around the world. The hype became so big that people started organizing their own fake Squid Game tournaments in real life. Millions of people were interested in this new online Squid Game, where you could play to earn real crypto tokens. The pre-sale on October 20th sold out in just 1 second. A few days later, the coin started to get coverage from the mainstream media outlets, such as the BBC and CNBC. This acted as rocket fuel for the coin's price, which ended up increasing 23 million% to its peak of $2,800 on November 1st.
That's outrageous. I mean, did anybody get involved? I mean, at that point, you would have sold, right?
While some of the people buying the coin were speculators who thought they could ride the momentum, many of them were legitimate fans of the show who just wanted to play a fun online game.
There must have been some people that made money, like not just the creators that rugged. There would have been some crew that would have gone like, what, $2,800 right now? Sell that shit right immediately. Or did it happen too quick that nobody else got a chance?
The developers said they would launch the game in November, so buyers could finally start using their coins to play. This already should have raised some red flags.
I get you. So you couldn't do anything with it at that point. You could sell the token, but then you wouldn't be able to use the game. Okay.
Remember, the TV show was only released on September 17th. The creators of the coin have no affiliation with Netflix, so there's no way they could have known what a hit this would be beforehand. This means they had less than 2 months to develop and launch a game by their November target. They also said they would develop an iOS and Android version of the games in December, and host an in-person award ceremony for the winners. Even for a simple online game, it would take a team of multiple experienced software engineers many months to make a legitimate product without bugs or glitches. The Squid Coin was being developed by an anonymous person or group of people. It's almost absurd to think that they would have the resources to develop both a cryptocurrency and a video game in less than 2 months. But things were about to get even more suspicious. Starting around October 29th, CoinMarketCap.com said they were starting to receive reports from crypto traders saying that they were unable to sell their coins on the decentralized trading platform PancakeSwap.
Oh, so if you wanted to get out and take some profit, you couldn't? So who was stopping that then? How come? How come they couldn't sell?
They urged traders to proceed with caution when buying the coin. Of course, most of the buyers ignored these warnings. And
this says here, according to CMC, PancakeSwap is the only market available for trading squid at the time of writing. The token is trading at $5.71 and is among the top gainers on CMC, CoinMarketCap, with a daily trading volume of 7 million. So people were trading it. Okay. So there would have been people that made a lot of money off this. if they acted in enough time before the rug pull.
Started pouring more and more money into the coin. The developers said the restrictions on selling the coin was an anti-dumping mechanism to
Oh, Comptex says the value was going up so fast the slippage was not able to be set. Right, okay. Because it all happened so quickly. Hi Res, bedtime for me, but this is fascinating though to see the details. Take care all. Thank you, Hi Res, and cheers for your contributions, financial and also for being in there with the linky poo to get us talking about this. Because I saw all this play out when I was in New Zealand, but I missed it all. I didn't invest. I wasn't interested.
prevent whales from tanking the price by dumping their coins all at once. Thus, they were able to spin this highly...
Hang on, I missed that. I missed that bit.
The developers said the restrictions on selling the coin was an anti-dumping mechanism to prevent whales from tanking the price by dumping their coins all at once. Okay. Thus, they were able to spin this highly suspicious development as a legitimate protocol that they put in place to protect the average holders of the coins. You can think of Squidcoin's decision to ban selling of the coin as having the inverse effect as Robinhood's infamous decision to ban buying of GameStop during the January short squeeze. With most existing holders unable to sell their coins, and new buyers coming into the market to get in on the hype, the price skyrocketed up to $2,800.
So you can't sell and people are still buying it? Well, there's your problem. Wow. Would you buy into something that you knew you couldn't sell? I wouldn't.
This is obviously an absurd valuation. According to Squidcoin's proposed rules, a player will need to hold 15,000 coins to enter into the final round of the game. At the peak price of $2,800, that would be more than $40 million.
What? Sounds like locked hex, Van Frick. If you bought in, you can't sell for the amount of time that you choose, though. That's the big difference, man. You choose the time. 1 day minimum stake period, 5 days maximum. You choose.
Obviously, no one would be able to play this game, but it just goes to show how insane it was that they could artificially pump up the price so high by preventing people from selling. As it turns out, there was no video game being developed, and the restrictions on the selling had nothing to do with the anti-dumping protocol.
Classic.
The whole thing was a meticulously orchestrated scam by the developers, who swindled unsuspecting investors from around the world out of millions of their hard-earned dollars.
You haven't tried selling Hex today at Skyrockets yet? Well, I did. I managed a $6,000 profit from $300 on one of my first stake ever. Yeah.
Just when prices peaked on November 1st, the masterminds finally decided to pull the rug. They shut down the website and disappeared with all the money. The price fell to zero faster than a cannonball falling off the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But the news didn't come as a shock to everyone. On Friday, September 29th, a full 3 days before the collapse, Gizmodo published an article saying the coin was an obvious fraud. They pointed out...
Whoa. When did they publish that?
Price fell to zero faster than a cannonball falling off the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But the news didn't come as a shock to everyone. On Friday, September 29th, a full 3 days before the collapse...
3 days before it was about to go to zero, Gizmodo published this article. That's not a rocket, that's a hike. So, oh wow, the new Squid Game cryptocurrency launches as an obvious scam?
Gizmodo published an article saying the coin was an obvious fraud. They pointed out the absurdity of being able to buy a coin and not being able to sell it. They also pointed out numerous grammatical errors in the Squidcoin white paper.
The Squid Game project is a crypto play-to-earn platform inspired by the Korean hit series on Netflix about a deadly tournament of children's games. There is no longer dystopian world here. There is no longer dystopian world where a mysterious organization gathers people who are in large amounts of debt and living on the edge. There is no longer dystopian world. Okay, is that a typo? What?
For example, it said, quote, "There is no longer dystopian world where a mysterious organization gathers people who are in large amounts of debt and living off the edge," unquote. Despite the red flags, many crypto traders unfortunately adhered to the strategy of buy first and due diligence later.
Squid Game crypto token cost one Shanghai investor his life savings of $28,000 after the coin plunged to near zero. He put 28 grand into it.
This allowed the anonymous promoters to pocket more than $3 million and disappear. One of the most shocking aspects of the Squidcoin scam is how fast it got started and collapsed. 1 month after the TV show was released, they launched the coin. And in less than 2 weeks after that, they pulled the rug and stole the money.
Jesus.
Squid Game coin isn't the only Squid Game related crypto project. There's also Squid DAO, Squidonomics, Squid Game Token, Squid Game Protocol, and others. While the other ones
They've never been found, these yahoos, never came clean.
may or may not be outright rug pull scams like Squid Game Coin, none of them are affiliated in any way with Netflix. They're likely all just get-rich-quick schemes by unscrupulous developers who want to make a quick buck. With the rise of Dogecoin and Shiba Inu coin, the meme coin industry has been exploding in recent months. This represents a goldmine to the crypto scammers who can make millions of dollars in a matter of weeks by hopping onto the latest meme bandwagon and minting a worthless coin. If you're ever considering investing in any crypto asset, it's extremely important to do your due diligence. Figure out who is behind the project and what their motives are. Otherwise, there's a good chance you'll join the ranks of millions of people around the world who have fallen victim to Squid Game Coin or other similar scams.
Dang.
Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video.
Alright guys.
What do you think about Squid Game Coin?
Like, share, and subscribe. Squid Hex Doge, we will all laugh in 10 years. I mean, that's striking when the iron's hot, right? Like, Squid Games was popping on television on Netflix, and they were like, let's make a token. Let's get them. They never had any, like, I mean, that video said that they never actually made any of the game. Is that a fact? Like, how do they know that the game wasn't being developed? I mean, if you want to plead, like, devil's advocate, maybe they were doing what they said they were. And when they saw how much media involvement came amongst their coin and the value of it, they're like, oh, dudes, we could do this, or we could just take all the money right now and be millionaires and be done. It might not have been as planned as it sounds. It could have just been like, what? How did this pop up? So what? Because of, but then again, the ability not to sell kind of gives that away. Yeah. Oh man, I'm sorry if anybody of you invested in Squid Token or Squid Game, whatever it was called. Great show. I really enjoyed the show. I remember seeing about Mr. Beast doing his own Squid Game thing, and I watched that after the show, and I was like, well, this is lame. Hey, what an expensive, lame video he made. Like, that's like the actual show was so good, and then to see him try to redo it in his own way, it was like, but there's a Squid Game 2 coming, right? Like, there's a series 2 coming of the show. Either way, folks, I'm going to get out of here right now. I want to thank you all for being here with me on this stream. Much appreciation to MD Wit, Comtech, and Suki Smackhouse, top contributors to the stream. I appreciate you. Appreciate the links and the learn. I love cryptocurrency. I hope you liked it as well. And I'll see you Yahoo. Who did that? Vanfrick, thank you, man. I'll see you Yahoos on the flip side tomorrow. Mayonnaise! Wow! Who did that? Comtech, thank you, man. Cheers, dude. Get out of there. Get that out of there.